But yeah, that's just basically how it worked. Then I would just do pieces of songs and things, and now it's kind of evolved to a point where I just flail away, and I got some guidelines as to what I do. And solo is sometimes it's very much like what I used to do a long time ago. Sometimes it's all new. Try and be a little improvisational, but right now we're out touring with Rush, so in front of 15,000 people. You don't necessarily want to take a big chance, but it's fun if you take a little bit of a chance. You know, try something new you've never done before. You know.
Does it have a structure though?
I play
loosely.
Yeah, I play some wild stuff. I back it down. I play some quiet stuff, and I come back and do some more stuff. You know, and within context,
right.
At some point or another, there's various things that I've done throughout my whole life, and every night I'll always do something that I haven't done before or I haven't tried before, some combination of things. So it's always different. The solo is always different, but it has basically the context of, like a lot of classical pieces, you start out with the main theme, you back off and you do a couple sub things and you come back in with a big grandiose finish, you know, so that's pretty much what it is. And then we go right into Addicted, and the solo now with a little part, and then Pat comes in and does the drum things, and Paul comes in and we trade some stuff off, and that's our story, sad but true.
Now, another extension of chords that you seem to use a lot is the idea in NV, that one section in your NV solo where you tap chords on.
Yeah, that was back in about 1983 or 82 even. I don't even know where it came from. I was just kind of, I was doing holding a chord and doing a little trill on top of it. There's a D major chord. I found out that all those notes there kind of worked. So again, looking at the simplistic point of view that I did and still do sometimes. Now I made the chord a minor, which means this note does not work. This has got to go.
Right.
So it's. That was an accidental move. When I first did that, I had no idea. Another accidental one. Now there's a C chord here, and I'm playing. Actually, it's a G major chord over a C.
Yeah.
See how that works?
Exactly.
Then a simple ascension like that. The fingering is kind of tricky. I saw when I did a clinic in Japan, I saw a kid try to do that, and he had the whole thing, but he had these fingerings that were all like, you know,
oh, really?
all over the place. But it's actually, again, a lot of times when you hear something, it sounds more complicated than it really is. When people are watching me play, I know they have a puzzled look on their face, like going, I'm hearing all these notes, but he's not really, doesn't really look like he's doing anything, because I'm really not. I mean, it's just a way of economy of motion, like we talked about last time.
There's more logic, maybe, in what you're doing than what they're expecting to hear.
Yeah.
They expect it to be tricky, in other words, so they're looking for the tricky way of executing it.
Right, but in actual fact, when you're playing live, you want to keep it as least tricky for you as possible. Because you could probably do some histrionics and acrobatic kind of moves there, but when you're, like, running across the stage, it doesn't always work. So I try to do things that really depend on strength. You can really get a really strong, hard tone on that aren't so weirdly esoteric that it's going to be difficult for you to just summon up at any given time from your imagination.
What are some of the other key points that you like in your NV solo?
There's a couple like...
Now, how did that develop, that
was
idea?
Taken from the Van Halen.
Oh, Mean Street.
That that thing there, which I don't want to play too much of to encroach upon Eddie's thing. But when I first saw him doing that in 1980, it was part of a solo, and later on he put it into the intro of a song. An amazing piece of music, and it's actually, I think, from what I understand, taken from a
bass slap
bass
figure.
Because Eddie's a great bass player and a good drummer too. It helps out his guitar playing. That's why I urge bass players to learn a little bit about guitar and definitely a lot about drums, because it helps out your playing a lot.
So remember that.
Remember that. So so that tapping thing, because I never did the thumb thing. I can't. I'm just not. I practice it once in a while, but so many other guys have it so much better than I do. Why even bother? You know, just call
you
them
probably
if you
could, but you got priorities.
Yeah, I would like to, because it's really great. But so I just did a lot of tapping with this finger naturally, because I never even really knew about the thumb stuff because of most of the stuff I played didn't require it in most rock bands. Just a way of you're hitting on the octave.
You're getting so much sound and it looks so light the way you're playing it.
Yeah, it's kind of a touch that you get. Your finger actually kind of bounces off. A lot of guys like hold it on there too long. It's just kind of a way of bouncing your fingers, both on the right and left hand.
Now, what's happening in your left hand at that point? Aha.
And,
So this upper note section has a pedal kind of effect. It stays put
you
while the other notes below it change.
You're kind of getting that chord there, so you got to kind of stick within the realms of what works with those three notes.
Ah.
So
It gets pretty elaborate.
Yeah, so now anybody watching this can take that and do any kind of chord structure in the world they possibly conceive of.
It should be in one key, similar key, chord changes related.
Or experiment. I can honestly say I've never played that pattern before in my life before this moment here.
And the open strings are a part of it, of course.
Yeah, so you can, the variations are limitless that you can do with it. So, and it originally came from, you know, that thing, and it's just going to extend it all over the neck. So there's a lot of ways you can approach tapping and hammering, and I try to encourage people to be unlimited. And every time you come up with something, understand, like for a long time in my solos, in the old days, I would always just, that's what that is. Kind of a raking, half hammer technique here. Get a real fast thing out of it. Now,
and you're barring under there too, as well.
Yeah, I'm holding these notes here, and barring here too. So look how little motion there is for all those notes. And then just about a year ago, I finally realized, hey, why don't I try another chord, only the same technique?